that's most people here. I'll keep letting other people in. So thanks everyone for joining. I'm Toby from Ealing and Hounslow CVS, and welcome to the Ealing Mental Health Forum. We've got lots of different speakers today, so let's get cracking. So first of all, if everyone can just sign in, just your name and where you're from, that'd be great, just so we've got a record of who's attending this meeting. While you're all doing that, I'm going to hand over to Daniel from Mint just for an update, because Daniel wasn't able to attend last month, so it'd be great to know what's been going on.
Sure, thanks, Toby. Thanks for having me here. Apologies about last month. Yeah, so where to start really? There's a lot going on at the moment. It's very full on. So we're now at a place in the teams where we're having our own individual MDT meetings. So we're starting to split the team in Southall. And I went to go and visit the new base at Grand Union Village a couple of times this week as well, to try to get that area sorted out. There's still a bit of work that has to be done in terms of having some computers put up there at the moment, but hopefully we should be able to use it as a bit of a base soon. Still on schedule to move in there in terms of being in that base in autumn of this year. Since we've kind of changed a lot of our systems around, we also had a huge influx of referrals as well, much more than we originally anticipated. So there's been a bit of delay in terms of responding to people. So at the moment we've got, when the new referral comes in, we kind of have a MDT meeting every morning to discuss all the new referrals. But we kind of had some work done at the tail end of last year to sort of think about how many people we were going to be discussing each day at our daily referrals meeting, and it's been sort of double that. But I think some of that is to do with maybe some pent up stuff around kind of the pandemic and you know, and the kind of GPs being a bit more active now as well. So we're sort of just managing that as best we can, really. We've also sent out, we also did a presentation for people to apply for small grants as well. So we had 23 applications in. So I've got to go through that with the other Mint managers to look at all of those bids, and as soon as we've been able to sort of like look through all of them, we'll be able to sort of give feedback and tell people if they've been successful or not. So thanks for everybody that applied for those as well. Really looking forward to reading those bids and seeing what people have come up with. And we've also got our link workers on the call as well. And I know that they've been doing a little bit of work from today, which was part of our assessment, our brief assessment, is using something called dialogue. So it's like a series of questions that we ask to patients around kind of their around their mental health when they come in straight away, and it's quite good because we ask patients to score from 1 to 7 in a number 11 different domains. And I'm wondering, sorry, Daria, I don't mean to sort of Daria and Melissa, I don't mean to sort of spring this on you, but maybe you'd just be able to kind of go through some of that stuff that you spoke with Craig about earlier, and about looking at how we can kind of help to get our community partners sort of linked in at that sort of first point of call as well. So that might be good if you could sort of take over. I know that it's sort of springing on you. Is that okay?
Don't worry, we got this. This morning we had a chat with Craig, and basically the plan forward is, as you done said, to start using dialogue. But what we're going to do from our side, kind of to try and help the team whilst they're using it, is to make our resources like correspond to each question. So for example, if someone says they are very dissatisfied with the current job situation at the moment, kind of we'll have a list of services corresponding to the question that focuses on that. So you can straight away look at, okay, this service, and this service can help you with like your job or education, rather than trying to flick through pages of basically resources to find the right one. And that is basically it. We are yet to start doing that, as we've only had this in this morning. You need them.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Daria. And it would just be also interesting to know what people in this forum's experiences have been of the community mental health team in the past couple of months, whether you find us to be unresponsive, and just to see whether there's anything that you could bring to the table in terms of anything that I need to sort of raise or address. And because this is really your forum, and it's sort of about us adapting to support you as well. So so please just sort of raise your hand or say anything, and then I can either try to deal with it now or take it away and get back to you about it.
Okay, anyone got a question for Dan on that? No, all very quiet this morning or this afternoon. Oh.
Okay, so you should, I mean, I think I've passed my email out to everybody, but I'll put it in the chat again. So if anything does kind of come up, or you want to speak privately about something, then just you can email me. If you're having sort of difficulties going through the normal routes of getting hold of somebody in the team, and I can look to help you with that as well. So please please just raise things with me if you're finding any difficulties with the normal processes.
That's great, Dan. Thank you very much. Maybe the fact that there weren't many sort of questions there is a good sign, but thanks for offering to take those questions there.
Sure.
Okay, so let's move on to our next speaker, and it is Giles from Hestia, who was going to talk last time, but kind of, well, there was loads of presenters and he kind of got bumped. So thanks for bearing with us, Giles. Giles, do you want to tell everyone your title to do with partnerships?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Apologies for not having my camera on, but I'm having awful problems with my broadband today. And it seems that not having the camera on helps. I actually did speak on the last forum, but yeah, just in case there's anybody here that wasn't around last time, my name is Giles. I'm the head of health for Hestia. We basically, I run a team of partnership and development managers, and we're looking obviously to grow our health portfolio within throughout London. Since I last spoke, we have been successful in being awarded a couple of new services, which is very welcoming news. It's a very quick update, really, in as far as what's appropriate to say on the forum and what isn't. But we are all providers as part of this forum, and we, Hestia, certainly my team, are entering into a new opportunity which may create opportunities for a peer support worker trainer or training organisation. If there's anybody on the forum today that does that and can provide that, then if you want to contact me, then we can have further discussions about it. That's me. My colleague Bethany DeProse is also on the forum today. She may attend instead of me in the future going on, because she part of her patch covering in throughout London is Ealing and Hounslow. So yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Thanks, Charles. I do remember now. I remember I pulled you and then I rearranged it. It was all a bit crazy.
No worries, Toby. No worries.
Okay, thanks, Giles. Okay, so now we have Nashiru from Diversity Radio, really interested to find out more about Diversity Radio, and it's thanks to Maureen, who's on this call. Hi, Maureen, who introduced me to Diversity Radio. And yeah, just really keen to find out more about this radio station that has a focus on mental health. So yeah, Nashiro, we'd love to know more, please.
Hi.
Hi, Nashiro, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Hi,
Hello.
it's very faint, so I'm just going to see if I can get some more volume.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm here, so.
Yeah. Can you hear me? The reception is really bad. I'm not sure if
I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. So sorry as well. My apologies. We're going through a lot of changes at the moment in terms of moving studios, so it's been a bit hectic, and that's why we were not able to attend our last meeting. But we're still in the process anyway. Yep. Just a quick one, really, because reception is really bad from my end here. I'm Nash Momori, and I'm the founder of that Diversity Radio. And I'm not sure if any one of you have been on the website at all. Maybe it'll be a better way of understanding a lot more of what we do. But in the meantime, what I would say is that the name Diversity Radio literally came from the desire to embrace difference. I mean, as in beginning from a place of occupancy, and to offer a community a very diverse range of individuals without barriers, because it's not necessarily about ethnicity, but also just about organizational difference and individual challenges. In fact, we are a team of service users with all sorts of backgrounds and lived experience. And what we realized was that, especially during the pandemic and prior to that, was that user involvement was quite intrinsic, yet quite under recognized when it's not within your niche. But then we realized that we needed to get a lot more platform that would enable everyone to be part of the conversation. And that was just the radio station. The purpose of this radio station is to allow everyone to have a voice and to have a place to share and to listen, a place for learning and sharing. And so what we want to impact on is how the practice and the structure of organizations are impacted on to enable and enhance a cultural shift. I think that's the briefest way to just explain what it's all about. Now, we do this through podcast, storytelling, poetry, music, all sorts of, literally creative activities. And sometimes having a conversation, people sit back and think, who are you to say that, or who aren't this? And sometimes people don't even know where to go to get help. So what we then do is everyone has a story to tell, and everyone has something that they probably wish they could share. And it's virtual, it's digital. You could be in your bedroom and still be able to produce a show. You could present whilst at home at your own comfort, because sometimes what we tend to realize is people have the ideas and they just at home don't feel comfortable enough. Some people are camera shy. And I think this platform is there to allow us to do things in our own comfort. Not only do we do that, we also try to ensure that service users, carers, staff, service providers have the opportunity to literally be part of that community of well-being. We do provide support network. It's more peer-to-peer support. We do provide employment facilities. We do provide transitional, what do you call it, opportunities. So some people, for instance, Maureen, who is here, who I would always mention, very proactive member and a partner. I mean, we are doing some fantastic work with Maureen within the community, where Maureen kind of refers individuals who want to be presenters, DJs, and stuff like that. and Maureen refers them. We've got risk assessments in place. We've got support placement in place, and people just come in and they get that opportunity to do it. So I think it's been managed carefully, and because we're all individuals with lived experiences, we kind of know what the challenges could be and how to best. Sorry for that. Sorry, it's all right. No, I'm just. It's a colleague. I'm in an office area. So yeah, what we tend to do is not only do we have to use the platform as a radio, and that we also use it as a platform to provide support. We use it as a platform to have a conversation. So all of you as partners, it costs nothing. If you wanted to reach out to the wider community, you just need to get a jingle, or you need to just get your script together, and we would publish it out there on the radio station. If you wanted to advertise anything, it's free. You could do it your own way. You could reach out to the target audience, and it's all over the world. In fact, that is the best thing about it. At the moment, we've got a team of about, in fact, core team of about 7. And as we speak, 5 of them are individuals that have just been discharged from hospital, and they have taken up responsible roles, making it possible and prove the point that there is always a life after that, and there's always a light at the end of that tunnel. I think most importantly is the assurance, the reassuring that opportunities are there, and if we service users can actually galvanize and have a radio station that we run to that scale, under a year and a half, we've kind of amassed about 8,000 listeners. We are on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all. And I think then there is that proof that it is possible. I can't say much because I'm lost for words. At the end of the day, the reality is that we just do, whatever it is on the tin is what it says. So yeah, you go on our website and you will just see a lot of what we do. And I think, yeah, and you can tune on to, and Frederica, if you're there, Frederica is the comms manager and director of comms, and she can tell you how to reach out to us and how to be part of it. Frederica, if you don't mind.
Hi, talking about camera shy. And my name is Federica, and I work with Nash. I was actually being discharged from hospital a couple of weeks before the start of the pandemic, which was quite a shock. But yeah, the radio really helped me a lot, and I actually got a certificate in social media marketing, which is quite an achievement. And yeah, we managed. Yeah, we managed to build a social community, and we have other service users that always join us, and we're very proactive, and it's an amazing platform. So thank you to Nash as well, and Maureen.
Well, it certainly sounds like a great initiative. Who would like to ask Nash or Federica a question? Jump in, Maureen.
I just want to say good afternoon, everybody. So I'm really glad to see both Nash and Federica here. Thank you for joining this forum. And I just wanted to say at the moment, just as Nash alluded to, I do have someone that I'm working with that's actually learning how to be a radio DJ. So just as an example of some of the things that they're doing, and he's doing very, very well there. And of course, Nash is doing lots of other things with the radio station that I'm not involved with, but I thought it would be good really, so he could actually extend, the reach, so he, there's more people that can access his service, because I think it's really good, and I'm quite happy to endorse it. So that's all I wanted to just say, and it's good that you were able to attend this meeting. Well done.
Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see you've got a question.
It's all right, no problem, it's fine, yeah, come in. It's normal.
Ben, you got your hand up? You got a question?
Hi guys. Hi, good afternoon. Yeah, I was just wondering, do you know what your listenership is like in the Ealing area, or is that how it works? Do you break it down in that way? just wondering if the people of Ealing are very aware of you. Nash, I can see you're on.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we you know, wherever we've got listeners in India, in America, in Germany, and it's weird
Wow.
when we do have parties every Saturday night from 9 till 1 a.m. And you know, we get hundreds of people, participants dancing, and it's on Zoom. We've got
wow.
streams. Frederica, what's it called? Restreamed
Yeah.
what?
Mixed clouds. But I think this past year obviously is being quite limited in terms of face to face. So talking about specifically for the Ealing area, we are trying now with the easing of restriction to obviously reach out and physically as well, maybe go on the wards with Maureen and go to the local Ealing centers as well, libraries. So I think it will be the next step going forward.
Cool.
Great.
Okay.
I'll definitely give you guys a listen. I'll have a look at the site.
I mean, as you know, that's why we're part of this forum here. If you can get the word out there, you just all you need is download.
Coral, you've got a question.
Yep, you download the app if you're on Apple. It's, you know, you can just download it. If you're on Google, if you're an Android phone, you go to Google Play or Alexa, and you
I
just
put the
download the app
details
on your
as well
phone,
on
and
the
it's
chat.
24 hours.
Right, I'll circulate
Okay.
them afterwards. So Coral, you've got a question.
Yeah, thank you. So I was just really interested in employment opportunities that you do offer, Nashiru. So you mentioned DJs, presenters. Is there any other type of roles that you're seeking? And do people require experience, or is there full training?
You know, it's all, in fact, money is an issue. So we do provide volunteering roles. We wish we could get some little bit of funding in so we can actually employ, but what you don't have to have any experience whatsoever. We provide support. We've got professionals who voluntarily support us and support our volunteers into. So if you want to do, if you're a writer, script writer, storytelling, questioning, interviewing skills, all sorts of skills that would actually motivate you to be yourself and find yourself. We provide all that. Admin work, like Frederica said, she's never done social media. She's just started as a social media work. And at that time, thank God we had a bit of money and we were able to put her in a course. And now Frederica has got, in fact, I think a diploma or something in social media. So yeah, once there is funding, we are always willing to promote and help people to build on their skills.
Sorry, just one more off the back of that. I do have someone in mind, but they do work as well. So what kind of commitment do you need from your volunteers?
It depends on whatever the volunteer is able to. Remember, we're very mindful about people's well-being, and we just don't want people to get overwhelmed or feel overwhelmed. It's whatever you can afford to give. We work with you on your terms, and we understand, and we try to understand your needs and work alongside that and provide the best support as possible. Because we have been there and we know what it's like to be a service user trying to, and not only just that, staff yourselves. You know, members of the forums, you know, professionals, we need everyone. For instance, on our website, we've got a link where people ask certain questions, like mothers who've got kids that they don't understand certain things, gun crimes, all sorts of things. If you ask some questions, we're able to find professionals who will volunteer for us that will answer your question for you. So yeah.
That's amazing. I might have a look onto it myself. Thank you.
Daniel, you've got a question.
Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, thanks Nash and the team for presenting this. It looks absolutely brilliant, to be honest. I've just been having a look at your website, and it's really interesting, actually. I like the fact that it seems like it's quite an organic thing that's kind of come up, and you're sort of working together. In terms of like somebody, so let's say we had somebody that we wanted to refer in and they wanted to start, would they meet with you face to face at any point? And is there like a base that you have at the moment? how does the sort of process work with inducting somebody?
That is perfectly fine. What we do, I mean, as I said, we're just moving premises because we've just got a place, and that's another thing. But we are fixing it. I mean, I'm doing all the work with my colleagues, Frederica, doing the painting and moving. We're just hoping that the transition will be very smooth. We have a base. Once we communicate and get all things done, of course, you have to come around to meet us there to see where it is, view it, assess it yourself, feel comfortable with the environment, and then we take it from there. But we ensure that everything is done within a framework of safety.
Brilliant. Okay, I think it might be worthwhile maybe us kind of having another conversation, maybe offline as well, just so that we can kind of iron some stuff out, because I think this is it sounds like a brilliant project, to be honest. I think a lot of our service users would be really interested in this kind of thing. Which is sort of like quite practical experience and everything. So we'll get your contact details, and maybe we can arrange a meeting as well.
Yep, I'm going to send everything around afterwards. So
thank you.
Connect everyone.
And it's free for all of us. The reality is we want to make this platform a platform for all. We don't own it. We all will own it, and we will run it as a community. As it says, it's a community radio platform for all of us. Let's make good use of it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Really interesting. I'm going to look at more at your website because I definitely want to find out more. And yes, I hope maybe you could come back in a few months' time and talk a bit more about it. We'd love to have you back.
And you might be a presenter on our show. Why not?
No, sounds good. Thank you. Right, so we're going to move on to our next presenter, who is Susan. Susan from Linked Minds, and from Linked Minds, which is a project Befriend Friends.
I know it's a bit rude for me to ask permission. I'd like to hear others, but Frederica's going to say, can I go?
Can you go? Of course you can. Thank you for joining us. So Susan's from Befriend, and Befriend are actually going to be sharing this space with us because we are now finally in the back office of West Ealing Library, and Befriend are our tenants. But I haven't seen Susan in person yet, but I invited her a lot. I'm sure she will be in.
I've been hiding.
You've been hiding, okay. So I thought it'd be great to just get a little bit of an update about Linked Minds and Susan's project. So Susan, over to you.
Yeah, and it's a really good time for us to do that as well. I don't know if people can hear and see me okay. I'm having a little bit of problem on Teams. It keeps cutting me out and freezing.
Loud and clear to me.
Okay, cool. I'll get going then. So, I mean, a brilliant time for us to speak to the Mental Health Forum because Befriend have been going for about 2.5 years, or Linked Minds at Befriend have been going for about 2.5 years now. I don't know if people know the sort of background. So Befriend is like our core organisation, and they befriend mainly older people, traditionally people who were housebound, but they were getting so many referrals for people with mental health problems, and they were left a little legacy of money 2.5 years ago. So they set up the Linked Minds project, and we work exclusively with people with a diagnosis of a mental health problem. As I say, we've been going for 2.5 years, and in that 2.5 years, there's been me 3 days a week, which has been, yeah, crazy at times, so many referrals. But as from a month ago, I was joined by my new colleague, Irene, and Irene is full-time worker, so that really increases our capacity. When it was just me on my own, I was stretched at trying to have 25 matches. Now that Irene's there, that increases our capacity to about 60, 65 matches. So at the moment, the only thing that's stopping us really is trying to get enough volunteers to cover that. Irene, do you want to introduce yourself a bit?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Irene. Like Susan said, I recently joined Linked Minds. I used to work for Hestia, and I had a different background. Actually, I used to work in medicine, but then just volunteering for charities and loving mental health, I decided to switch. And in early 2020, I switched full-time to mental health only. and now with Befriend, and what we do is just so beautiful, and we see the difference in people's lives every single day. And our project is quite special because we get to match. Oftentimes our volunteers have lived in experience with mental health problems, either themselves or with a very close friend or family member. So it's a very special project in that way, because we feel it's peer-led in some ways, and it's also very person-centered. I think one of the main things that we do is try to connect people, and understanding that through feeling connected, our well-being improves. And really, we are catering to the most vulnerable people, as you all are, which are people who've been stigmatized, rejected, and isolated by those around them, or who have isolated themselves, withdrawn from the rest. So yeah, I'm really excited. We have been receiving a lot of referrals, and really now our challenge is try to find as many volunteers as possible to be able to serve those people. So yeah, thank you for having me.
I don't know if it'd be interesting for people for me just to give a little bit of background about what it is that we do and how we do it. I thought, I mean, really our kind of slogan at Befriend is that we're about more than just cups of tea. I think people have this quite old-fashioned idea of befriending as being, you know, we're all nice middle-class, middle-aged ladies that just go around and have a nice cup of tea with some poor soul. And that's not really what we're about at all. So I just want to sort of dispel that myth. We're actually, we're a recovery-based befriending project, and our model is rooted in a model as suggested by the Scottish Recovery Network called CHIME, and that stands for Connections, Hope, Identity, Meaning and Empowerment. And that kind of forms, that sort of underpins what we do and the way that we do it. So what we do is we link clients with a volunteer befriender. So all of the face-to-face befriending is done by volunteers, and it's probably worth bearing that in mind when you refer to us as well, because sometimes the referrals that we get through, and I know it's because there's not enough services around, but sometimes the referrals we get through, we would be really hard pushed to find a volunteer that might be able to deal with the degree and level of trauma that the clients are facing. So all the befriending face-to-face is done by volunteers. Volunteers visit their clients once a week for an hour to 2 hours, or they meet up out in the community, or now we actually have a telephone befriending service. So if somebody doesn't feel ready to meet up with someone, it's something that we can do over the phone or via Zoom. All of our matches are time limited to a year. And we're all about, as Irene said, we're all about the connection. It's all about the connection that the volunteer makes with the clients, and everything is kind of driven by that. Someone said that, you know, it's not the type of therapy that's important, but it's your relationship with your therapist that makes the change happen. And that's kind of really the case with Linked Minds. It's all about the relationship people can form with their befriender. And often for most of our clients, it's the only relationship they have in their lives that's with someone who's there because they've chosen to be there with the clients rather than being paid to be there. So that in itself kind of sets itself apart slightly. So what we, so that's kind of the nuts and bolts of what we do. Why we do it is because I think the very first thing that we want to do with people is we want to try and build people's hope. I'm sure you're all really aware that an awful lot of the people that we work with feel that they've been stripped of a lot of hope. And the first thing that we're all about is trying to bring hope back into people's lives. We want to increase people's confidence and help them build their social skills. We're looking to help people find their identity sort of post-diagnosis. A lot of our clients feel that they have no identity, and the only thing that identifies them has become their diagnosis. So it's about finding out all the other things that make those human beings into the human beings that they are, and how we can bring those things to the fore. We're about helping people to engage with activities that bring some meaning back into their lives. So our first step is to really build that connection between the client and the volunteer, build that trust, that hope, raise people's confidence, help them relearn some social skills. Once they're feeling a bit more confident and socially skilled, help them to identify things that they've enjoyed doing in the past or might enjoy in the future, and then help to link them into those things, whether those are things in a local community or a community of interest. We're trying to help people build up social networks through their involvement in activities to make positive connections with people in order to alleviate some of the loneliness and isolation that our clients are feeling. As I say, we've got a year to do this, so it's quite a big task in a year. So we're not about taking people out to do their shopping. We're not about going along with people to hospital appointments. We're not about going around to people's houses and helping them tidy up their houses. Our aim is social and emotional support. So like I say, trying to build up people's confidence, their awareness, their sense of their identity, their hope, their social skills, so that they're able to get back out and engage in things in the community, so that at the end of the year, when the befriender withdraws from the relationship, that the clients are actually set up to be able to continue to do those things by themselves. A little bit about our criteria. We're open to anybody over 18 that lives in the borough of Ealing. We more or less work with people that live alone, although we do sometimes work with people that live with someone, perhaps because they're maybe they live with a child or something like that. And we will, if someone is living with someone, we would look at it and see if we think it's an appropriate thing. But generally we're looking at people who have one visitor or less a week outside of paid professionals that are coming in to look after them. We also work with people who are able to get out of the house once or less a week. So people who are really socially isolated. What else can I say? We've noticed recently we've had quite a flood of referrals recently, and quite a flood of referrals that perhaps have not been appropriate referrals, and that's usually because the client perhaps doesn't know that they've been referred to us. It's maybe something that's been mentioned in passing and they've gone, oh yeah, and then before they know it, we're phoning them up and they're like, we've got no idea who you are. What happens quite a lot is that we phone people up and they don't answer the phone. So our policy is that we would phone people on 3 separate occasions to try and make contact with them. And then if they have facility, we would message them. If not, we would write to them and tell them that we won't initiate contact with them again. But if they're interested in our service, that they can get in touch with us. And that's just because we don't have the time, basically, to just be continually phoning people if they don't want to engage with us. And I'm not really up for chasing up people to make sure they want to engage. And also, it tends to be a bit of an indication as well. If people are not picking up the phone to us and engaging with us, then the chances are that they perhaps won't engage with their befriender. I would say that probably about between a quarter and a third of our matches don't go to the full year. Some of them end before the beginning of the year, and that's most often because the client is not engaging. Now, I think that might be because people think this is a service that they can kind of dip in and out of, that maybe one week they do feel like seeing a befriender and that's great, and then the next week they don't feel like it, and then they maybe don't feel like it for another 2 or 3 weeks, and then they do again. But actually our service really relies on having that weekly contact. So it kind of is important that clients know that that's what they're being offered and that they are up for that level of commitment, that it is about a weekly engagement for the length of a year. What I'll do is I will send Toby out information about the project, including our aims and our criteria, and I'll send out a referral form and stuff like that, and Toby can forward it to anybody, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks very much, Susan and Irene. Anyone got any questions for either of them? Ben, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, hi both. I really like the sound of the service. It sounds great, and I like that chime approach. Yeah, just wondering, do you get many referrals from statutory services? Do you get referrals from the social workers and the mental health social workers? You do.
Almost all of our referrals. I would say a good 80% of our referrals come from what was the recovery teams.
Okay.
And I think our slight sadness about that in some respects is that often they're referred to us when they are discharging people, and that's sometimes that's not the best time for people. So what we've found is that we often end up with people who are still really quite vulnerable and perhaps are still needing a bit more input than we're able to provide. So yeah, but I would say 80% of our referrals are coming from statutory.
Yeah. Okay. Certainly, if you wanted to come along to one of the team meetings and talk to them yourself, that might be sort of more powerful. So I get what you mean. You know, it's often a really difficult time for somebody leaving hospital. So maybe it would be better when the reviews team are in, looking at looking at how people are doing. Or in normal, the social workers' caseloads. But certainly, I'd be happy if you want to send me some contact details.
Sorry, Ben, where are you from?
LBE, so Head of Mental Health, London Borough of Ealing.
Okay, I'll get your contact details from Toby.
I can send them around, yeah. And I have to say, Ben, it's thanks to Ben that this forum had funding, because we were worried about the future of it, and I chatted with Ben and he drew it to the attention of the powers that be at Ealing Council. So thank you very much, Ben, for initiating that, because it's such a valuable forum.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's essential. Getting everybody in a room like this is such a useful activity. I want to get more of the social work leads involved in coming along.
Yeah.
And it's, I know I can't come out. I have a lot of meetings that clash with this, but I find that when I do come along, I just learn so much about what's going on in the borough. So it's really valuable for me.
And I know that is named Bushra, who's the new she attended the last one, so maybe she can come along to the next. But it's great, it's getting the ball rolling, isn't it, and that communication open. So
yes,
Peru, you've got your hand up.
Oh, hi. Hi, Susan. Thank you so much for your presentation. My name is Paru and I work with Ealing Job Center as a disability employment advisor. My question is, sometimes we get customers, they have mental health, but they don't want to open up to us because they usually think we are all benefit side, and if they say something, the benefit could stop, etc. Now, I have a customer recently, very quickly, she just doesn't want to talk to anybody. She doesn't trust anybody. Something could have gone wrong in her life. She just thinks that, why should I get the report from doctor, or why could I speak to social prescriber? She doesn't want me to sort of interfere at all. That's the right word. Now, if we signpost this particular customer by selling your service, will you be able to motivate her to speak to you all to just support her with her mental health condition?
I'm kind of struggling a bit to hear you there. You sort of breaking up a little bit at my end, but absolutely, if you have someone and you think our service, they match the criteria for our service, then refer them to us. And absolutely, I think, as I was saying, I think sometimes because it's not another professional, because they'd be matched up with a befriender, and the befriender is just another human being. Sometimes that's the uniqueness of befriending, isn't it? It's just ordinary people with ordinary people, and often that is the thing that really makes the connection between people, and people that wouldn't ordinarily open up find that they're much freer to do that.
So sorry, so what is the process? They have to call you to be referred, or there is, as you said, there is a referral form which we can fill it in from our side? How does it work?
Yeah, or you can look on our website, it's befriend.london, and you can refer directly from the website.
Okay,
I'll be sending all those details around.
Okay. Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Susan. It was brilliant. Thank you.
Stephen, you got a question?
Yes, I'm Steve Kyle. I'm Recovery Support Services Manager at Each, and we provide a number of mental health related services, including a hospital discharge housing related support service and a mental health awareness service called STEPS, who do a lot of work in terms of promoting positive attitudes to mental health and sort of self-help. It's a peer volunteer-led service as well. And I had really two questions. One, is there scope for you perhaps coming and talking to some of my service heads about what you're doing? There may even be ways that we could work in a complementary fashion. I'd be particularly interested to hear what you said about discharge and whether that's a good time to speak to people. But we quite often are working directly with people when they are discharged from the psychiatric hospitals, and therefore maybe are the people who could identify when they are in a position to perhaps meaningfully identify. So if that's possible, I would be like to maybe extend you an invitation to talk.
Thank you. I mean, absolutely. Part of my reason for saying to Toby that I was quite keen to speak to the forum at this point was because up until now, for the last 2.5 years, I've just been running, just trying to keep everything up in the air. And now that my lovely colleague Irene has joined me, it opens up a little bit of space, and it means that we are able and would very much like to be going out and speaking to both all the voluntary and statutory agencies in the borough. So that we're getting appropriate referrals through, and so that we can link up, because if we can work alongside other agencies, actually that really strengthens what we can do with the clients. So I'd love to come and speak to you, Stephen.
And sorry, I must have been dozing at some point in your presentation, so I do apologise. What's the position with regard to self-referring?
Clients can refer themselves. Again, if a client wants to refer themselves, we would ask them to give us somebody that has been involved in their medical care for us to be able to ask them about ways that the client has been supported and about some risk assessment details and stuff like that. But yeah, we do have a number of clients that have self-referred to us.
Okay, that's great. I mean, sometimes we do some public events which professionals and the general public attend around mental health issues. Toby and Kelvin have assisted, have joined those on occasion. So perhaps again, maybe we can invite you to one of those.
That'd be great.
Good talk about your service.
Yeah,
that would be
fantastic.
excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, before we move on to our next speakers, I'm just going to give an update about West Ealing Library. So the front is open now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and just an example with Befriend being in the back office area here, they're going to be able to connect with the services we provide a lot more easily. So, for example, Susan's talking about it's hard to find volunteers. We're going to have the volunteer centre out the front of the library to get good foot flow, and also we're going to be having a lot more community events, thinking of Befriend clients and things like that. But the reason I'm talking about this is I'm just going to drop in the chat is I did this last time, but I am going to keep on doing it on a regular basis because we get different people attending this forum. Of course, there's the core people, but there are different people attending different time. Now, people like Susan, who's going to be here, I can tell her the whole time about what Ealing and Hounslow CVS does and how we can support with, opportunities to access funding, safeguarding, blah, blah, blah. But I'm trying now to reach out there further, and that's the point of this 60-second survey. It's not just what you think of this, it's like, how can we help you more? So you might have seen this already, but if you haven't, please just take a second to fill in. So you can just say if you need help with safeguarding, other things. Just, it's so quick to do, but it helps us get that information from you. So I can do crossover with my colleagues for anything that perhaps even your colleagues might need help with. Just by doing this survey, it's 60 seconds, but it really is going to connect people. So please, if you haven't done that before, just fill in a few more details. And that will really help support you and your service. And while you're doing that, I was just going to ask, talking in volunteering now, because you've been running a new online support for people who are volunteering, and I'm just thinking, you know, straight away when Susan was thinking about someone who's volunteering for Linked Minds, quite a challenging role, I imagine, and thinking straight away, you know, that volunteer who supports on Susan's project, something that you provide, I think is it once a week, or I can't remember. Do you just want to fill in everyone about the details and let us know how it's going? Because I think it sounds really interesting.
Thank you, Toby. I'm going to hand over to Joy, actually, my partner in the Gen group. So, Joy, you probably can speak about this with more expertise than I can.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Joy. I just thought.
Hey, no worries at all. I just want to say hi to Susan, who is from my past. Hello, Susan.
Hi there.
Hi. And just to share with you all, hello, I'm Joy. Spent a long time in Acton working with young people for 20 years at Apple, Young People's Charity, and then had a huge breakdown myself. So I'm someone with lived experience, and as part of that journey, I met Susan. Susan was at the time supporting a peer group that I'd set up. So it was already a sort of flourishing opportunity for peer support. And yeah, so then I went on to Hestia. So hello, Hestia, as well. I feel a bit like, oh, hi, fam. Haven't seen you all for a while. So I have a big love for Ealing, and it's a real pleasure to be back in and seeing you all. Hello. So I'm one half of the Gen group. So this is Nell, who I'm sure some of you may know as well, been around a long time in Ealing herself, doing lots of work. And also, hello, Leslie, because we are working with Thrive London, and that's exactly what Toby was talking about. We've been working with grassroots organisations in London to try and understand their needs and look at. Oh, someone's got a plane landing in their background. I haven't heard a plane for ages. So we've basically been working with Thrive London to talk to grassroots organisations and see what their needs are, because as you all know, the reason you're here today is there's nothing greater than connecting up, right, and learning what other people do and how they do it. And quite often us as small organisations need a photographer, for example, because we're doing a little event, and how do we get hold of a photographer, and we've got no money to pay them, and you know, it's just learning from all that peer support that we're kind of doing today too. So we did a bit of work, and we're still working, it's an ongoing process, so two things came out of it. So one currently is that there's a regular peer support group. It's been online for volunteers that are working in London. So every 2 weeks, volunteers come together and discuss what they're doing. They highlight what they're doing. They also reach out to each other for needs, training needs, you know, so it's growing. It's been quite a small grow, as we all know. Groups take a while to form and get happening. So, but it's growing. So certainly that's a place for anyone who's working with volunteers. They can come away from the organisation for a little while and get a bit of downtime. Maybe discuss something that they might not feel at that moment able to discuss with everybody. It's a real safe space. So that's happening. I think, Nell, would you mind? Can you put the link in from Eventbrite for that at some point? Oh,
we're so efficient.
Tag team you. And also there is a Facebook page, which is a part of Thrive's Facebook, and that all grassroots organisations. So basically, I would encourage everybody to join it. And you can share exactly that. So say, for example, you suddenly found, I recently put on there are things like barbers that are now training each other to work with their clients around mental health and well-being. And so there's different things that can go on and off of that Facebook page. So that's really, I can think, Toby, what you were talking about. Yeah, I mean, we do lots of other stuff, but please look at our website at some point. But Big love
Lovely.
to Ealing. Hello.
Thank you very much for that update. Impromptu one. I just thought it'd be great to bring you in there at that point in time.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Toby.
So now we're going to just say hello to Gillian, who I've introduced her to some of you over the past couple of weeks. She's got a new role at West London Mental Health Trust, and her focus is mental health and older people. So I just invited her to come here to say hello and just a little bit about her role, because, yeah, anyway, over to you, Gillian, to say hi. You can say a bit more about your role. Are you there, Gillian? No. Oh, maybe she's had IT problems. No, maybe she's not on this call. We can get her to say hello at the next one. So let's go straight on to Michael, and he's been waiting very patiently. And Michael is from Cooth, and I'm sure you all know that it's great news that Cooth, that has been running in Hillingdon, is now being rolled out to support young people across all boroughs in the North West London CCG. So that's great news, and it will also include rollout to Hounslow as well. So yeah, I mean, God, thinking back, Cooth came to present about 18 months ago, because we kind of knew this was in the pipeline, so we got a bit of insight into them then. But yeah, it would just be great to know how the service is rolling out. And yeah, so over to you, Michael.
Toby, thanks for your introduction. And hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and in the new London Borough of Ealing for Cooth for the first time. So as of June the 1st, as Toby introduced, we are now fully commissioned across all of North West London. And currently in the mobilisation process is a case of raising awareness on our new contract. So engaging for the first time on the North West London level with CAM services, IAP services, and GPs is just an example. To introduce the support, if you're not already aware of it, we are fully commissioned by the NHS and a BACP accredited service. And across North West London, all young people from the ages of 11 to 25 can access our support. Our support is completely free. It is a self-referral service, and we have no waiting lists to access our mental health support or speak to our online counsellors. We have been specifically commissioned to alleviate demand on existing mental health services. So as a service, Cooth can be used to provide instant access to mental health support, part of a clinical referral pathway, or to provide support whilst service users are waiting to engage in a service. We also have no criteria as well to access our service, and why we work quite closely with CAMS as well. So to actually look at the support that we offer as an online anonymous service, it effectively is threefold. So firstly, we provide wellbeing and self-help tools for our service users to access, such things like a daily journal or mini activities that they can implement into their day-to-day life on improving their wellbeing, and a goal system which they can use and track their progress on how they're working on specific areas to improve their wellbeing. So that's an example of the one area of support, which is our wellbeing and self-help. Two, we also operate as a supportive online mental health community where young people can come online and completely anonymously, in a safe and pre-moderated space, express themselves and build a sense of empowerment over whatever may be affecting them or on their minds. They can also engage in creative and artistic therapy in this space. And there's something where young users can reach out to other peers so that it normalizes whatever is on their mind and so that they don't feel so isolated. And then finally, we provide online professional support. And how this is facilitated is that as a service, we're a live text-based service in which users can engage with one of our counsellors online for generally up to an hour and once a week in line with standard counselling practice. However, if they did ever need to access a safeguarding chat, this is more than okay. and something that they can access for however long that they may need. They can also inbox our online counsellors, which will be picked up within 24 hours, and something to utilise in conjunction with their ongoing therapy support once a week as well. And really important for those users who don't have the environment to engage in an hour-long counselling chat, so they can still reach out to our professionals through therapeutic messaging support. Lastly, what's really important to highlight is that we're not a standalone service. We work with as many local services or national services that can be factored in as part of a care plan or as a greater support network for our service users as well. And something that we can do in a joint working approach. So if a user comes forward and no longer wants to be anonymous, then this allows for us to work with other services in supporting that user. I'd love to answer any of your questions now, and thank you so much for inviting me today. I am really keen to have conversations with anyone who wants to look at signposting the support to your service users. I can also facilitate psychoeducational workshops for any of your youth provisions, or mainly to schools. That's where a lot of our engagement is, and is effectively our bread and butter in providing support to children and young people. So yeah, I'd love to answer any of your questions.
Thanks, Michael. That sounds really interesting. I've got some questions, but I'll hold back a minute and let. And who would like to go first? No, well, I'm going to jump in then. I want to know a little bit more about, you mentioned artist therapy or something like that. Can you tell me a little bit about that? I was really interested in that.
So one way in which we support our service users is through creative and artistic therapy. So how we facilitate this is by providing reading and creative writing challenges for our service users, also live discussion forums and discussion boards for them to engage with. But what's really popular on the site, and particularly the magazine, this is the space where users can engage in their own creative writing. And you'll find a lot of young people expressing themselves through poems, short stories, or advice on how to get through a hard time. And there's one area which they can do so. Additionally, in the mini activities, a lot of our creative and artistic therapy features on like activities which they can use. So one of them, for example, is create your own superhero. And this could be modeled on anything. So, I mean, for example, I used to be super shy. So if this was something, I'd make like, I don't know, super confidence man. And there's lots of other ones like create your own coping recipe, positive word boards, and so on and so forth. There's 22 different activities on there for our service users to engage with.
So if I wanted to go in and have a look at them, say I was going to encourage someone, am I able to, just as, how would I have a look at those, for example?
I could provide you with a live tour in a meeting if you wanted to explore it further, or a pre-recorded one. Also with the assembly presentations to school, this is sometimes something that we incorporate to outline the service and then show how you would access it, and then all the tools at your disposal as well.
Yeah, or even just a pre-record would be really interesting, and then I could distribute that. And yeah, when you're talking about these things, I'm just thinking, oh, I'd love to dig down and see that, just because, well, personal interest, but also, you know, when you're talking to people and describing it, and to a certain type of person that could really, you know, it's finding that point to connect with someone could really entice them. So that sounds great.
Yeah, certainly. If you did want anything of that nature, I've got your email address, so I'll follow up with you.
Yeah, brilliant.
To also highlight, in the current mobilisation process, I am hosting several different webinars. The next one is on Wednesday at 12 until 1 p.m, which will be a lot more of a comprehensive introduction to COOF. So we'll look at all the front-end support of COOF, then how specifically our counsellors work with service users as well. And in that, I will actually provide a live tour as well. And also,
and that's next Monday, did you say?
Oh, Wednesday.
Wednesday. Do you want to send me the link to that, and I can send that round as well? Because I expect there might be people who'd be interested in that as well as me. So
yeah, whilst it's fresh, I was hoping to pop it in the chat if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead with that. It's a much better idea. Drop it in the chat. That'd be lovely. Daniel, you've got a question.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Michael. Really interesting to hear about this. First of all, do you have a website that we could look at?
So there is the service website, so that's www.coof.com, and we'll provide an insight video into our support and also highlight the support available. Irene's actually kindly shared that. And then there's also, if you head over to Coof PLC, you'll be able to find, for example, our national reports on the state of the nation's mental health. So most recently, we published one in April 2021 that looked at over 100,000 service users across the UK, and we had 8 key findings. And also looks at our support for different communities as well. So that's a really insightful piece of literature if you wanted to look at that, and they're all available as well.
Thank you. Is it a fee-paying service? How is it funded?
We are funded by the NHS and fully commissioned by them.
Okay, great, thank you. And in terms of safeguarding, especially with sort of like anonymous contact, how does that work?
Yeah, so great question and really important. So with regards to the online site, for example, given that we're anonymous, everything before it gets posted onto the magazine, for example, the forums, will be pre-moderated by our online team. So this is to look for anything that's possibly sensitive, triggering, or abusive, and to safeguard our young people. So nothing will ever go live on the community side of things without being viewed by our online team first. And then in turn, if there needs to be a greater level of discussion or engagement with our online counsellors, this can lead to it as well. With regards to how our counsellors safeguard our young people, when they are online, there'll also be our safeguarding team that's online as well, senior practitioners and members of our clinical team to provide a scale of escalation. If there was ever a cause for concern, for example, we are specifically an early intervention and preventative service, but we do still support young people that come to us in crisis. And if this was the case, we would encourage them to come forward with personal identifiable information. And given that it is an anonymous service where they have logged on to speak to a professional, and given that it's a text-based service which allows the disinhibition factor to take effect, disclosures do tend to happen, and we work with relevant agencies like the police, ambulance, or social services, for example. However, it is important to note we are a unique service and we are anonymous. So if that service user wasn't comfortable coming forward with their identifiable information, we'd still continue to work with them and keep them safe, given that they are speaking to a qualified professional about whatever is on their mind. There is that therapeutic dialogue that is existing, and this may lead later down to the line to them disclosing what is affecting them. And it is a really interesting thought, given that we are anonymous, and it's important to recognise those kind of challenges in a way, but to appreciate the space that it provides for service users who may not be comfortable in disclosing what's happening to them in a forward fashion.
That's lovely, thank you, really interesting. I've got one more question. I'm sorry, Irene, I know you want to come in. Just in terms of, you say that the staff members are qualified. What are they qualified in, please?
They're qualified counsellors.
Counsellors, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what body they're registered with or anything like that? Or is there a way of that I could find out possibly?
I could find out for you.
Yeah.
I know that we're a BACP accredited service, and all of our counsellors are accredited.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'll follow that up with you. I know that I think they have 450 hours previous experience in a face-to-face environment with young people as well.
Sure. I mean, if they're BACP registered, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to know. So thank you.
Fantastic.
Irene, you've got a question.
Yes, a couple of questions. The first one is, I understand that it's for young people, and I was just looking at the login details, how to create an account and so on, and it says that it's age specific. What would be the cutout?
So it is up to your first your birthday on your 25th birthday.
25th. Okay.
Well,
Okay,
that's
so that would still meet some of our, well, not a lot of them, but some of our clients. That's brilliant. And then in terms of something that I hear a lot from clients is that when they're feeling unwell, although they love Samaritans, something that they do not like about Samaritans is that every time they call, they get a different volunteer. Would they know who they're talking to? Or is this some kind of, like, I don't know if anyone's familiar with a listening place, which is a service for people who are feeling very unwell and actively suicidal. And they do get calls just like Samaritans, but it's always with the same person. So people absolutely love that. With your service, I know that it's anonymous, but would the person feel kind of that sense of continuity with a professional, or would it be whoever's available at that time?
Yeah, that is a great question. So the majority of our service users are single session chat therapy users. So that's 62% of them. So the majority of them will come on as of when they need support. However, with regards to them actually engaging with the same counsellor, how we would put this into effect if they wanted to engage in booked therapy sessions is that if they have continued after that single session, on the third one, that is when we would determine the outcome of the best course of action to support that young person. So whether it is a case of that, whenever you need support, to come online and speak to one of our counsellors, that would be the first outcome. Secondly, that they would benefit from a regular counselling session once a week and engage in a course of therapy, however long it may be, whether it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Some of our users have been with us for years. And then thirdly, that service user would benefit from a more specialised service, like a higher tier in CAMS, or, for example, just another service. But they'd still extend COOF support to engage in that booked therapy as well, and actually help them in finding a service in their local area as well.
Brilliant. And that would still be free of charge if they were to engage. This sounds amazing because most people get 6 sessions of CBT under the NHS and they wait a very long time. So you're saying you have no real waiting time to engage, and then they can get as many sessions as they actually need to. So it sounds brilliant. The thing I can't think of any clients on this age bracket right now. Susan, help me if you can. But it sounds fabulous. Thank you.
What's really important to highlight, 2 things, is that when someone does get to the end of the age range, we would never leave anyone unsupported. So they would still continue in our therapy until we'd found another service for them. And secondly, we have our adult service, which is Quell, and supports service users in exactly the same fashion. However, that's more in its sort of like adolescent stage of being rolled out because of COOF's young person service, and Quell actually started later on. So hopefully looking for that to be a service in the same degree, which is across the UK.
Lovely. Any more questions for Michael? No, don't think so. Well, thanks, Michael. It was really interesting, really comprehensive. Thanks so much for joining. Do put that information in the chat about the tour of website. Oh, there it is. Brilliant. Yeah, that looks great. So I saw Gillian popped in. I think she might have had IT issues, or oh no, I remember now. She had another meeting. So Gillian, would you like to just say hi to everyone and tell them about your new role?
Definitely. Thanks for having me, Toby, and apologies for joining the meeting late. In the future to be able to attend for the whole of the meeting to get to know some of the services. But my name is Gillian Saracino. I'm a new joiner with West London Trust, and I'm a transformation project manager. And reason for my attendance today is, of course, the 3 boroughs that we cover in terms of Hounslow, Ealing, Hammersmith, and Fulham. A lot of the work that I'm going to be doing in the future is going to cover these areas. So I'm really here to introduce myself, to say hello. I've been lucky enough to be introduced to quite a few of you over email, but I think it's great to put faces to the names. Really the work that I'm going to be doing over the next while, and I am in the very early days of kind of scoping out the role and just getting familiar with not only the trust, but the NHS and the UK. as well. I'm Canadian by background, so all is quite new to me. But I'm going to be working on projects specifically with our older people's mental health service. And specifically, kind of the reason for me coming to this meeting and hopeful to build some sort of connections and opportunities for some discussions is around work that we're going to be doing around developing a specialized older adult mental health offer for community services. I was first connected with Toby from my colleague Wanda Fernandez, who I believe has come to this meeting in the past and has probably talked about all of the great things that are happening with the MINT program. I'm sort of coming at the tail end of that piece to start to talk about and try to explore developing in parallel existent kind of integrated with MINT a service for older adults. So the project hasn't yet started. It's really just kind of in the early scoping days. And what I'm hopeful to do is really just to build some relationships and connections in regards to anyone who has sort of programs or services that would kind of give an opportunity to either engage with service users or carers in terms of sort of that co-design engagement work across the 3 boroughs, but of course Ealing specific for this meeting. And then as well as just any kind of feedback and partnership opportunities. So really just early days, but just wanted to come and say hello. Know that there will be some exciting work happening for developing kind of a specialized offer for older adults in the community for mild to moderate functional mental illness. And I'm hopeful that this could be a kind of platform or opportunity to come in and just kind of meet a few of you. I know it is a quite specialized population. We are right now just scoping work for age 70 plus. So that would sort of be the service user care population we'd be looking to engage with in terms of my role. But I just wanted to say hello, and I will come kind of, if that's all right, in the coming months when the work has a little bit more progress in that sense. But I just wanted to say hello to start. And if there's any ideas you have that kind of jump out to say, I know where there's kind of a group happening in the community where there's service users and carers with this patient population, by all means, if you want to connect, shoot me an email. This is sort of my own environmental scanning and getting used to the environment as we start some of this work at the Trust. So that's all I have today, but nice to meet you all virtually.
Thank you very much, Gillian. I'll send your contact details around, so if anyone's got anything they want to send you or connect with you, I'll do that.
I can also put my chat as well. That's helpful.
Brilliant. Oh yeah, I can see there's Caroline's put something in there, so that's great. So the time is 1:15. We have a few minutes to spare. Has anyone got any other updates or any other business that they would like to share this afternoon? If so, now is your moment to jump in. I don't think there is. Okay then. Well, thank you very much everyone for joining. I hope you found that useful. And I shall. Oh, Maureen.
Sorry, Toby. Sorry, I'm raising my hand. Literally raising my hand a bit late. Toby, you know where you're based now? Is it? I'm not quite sure if there's face-to-face contacts happening over there. Are people coming into your space?
In terms of people coming
the library,
to use the library is now open, so clients can come in. The general public can come in and access the library, and of course, most importantly at the moment, access our suite of PCs to get online. So yes, it is open Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I'll just drop the link to the website actually. Oh, I've just been informed it's Wednesdays and Thursdays. I was wrong there. Stephen, you've got your hand raised.
Yes, I'm asking a question which Meg would have asked you if she was here.
Okay.
Does this mean we will be in a position in the near future to reinvigorate our physical information stand?
Yes, of course, we will definitely get up and running. That is on my list. I definitely want to get that. So we can sort that out, and yeah, it's really important resource to have something physical that people can take away leaflets and read about areas where they can access support. So yeah, we will set that up again.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Okay then. Well, I hope everyone has a lovely weekend, and thanks for joining today, and I'll see you again at the end of August. See you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.